Hello. Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? Can you hear me okay? Hopefully you can. Hopefully the music is not too loud in the background. How is everyone doing? I am tired. We had such an amazing weekend. 12 hours of contiguous role playing. 12 hours. Hello, JC. Hello, JD. Liam, how are you doing? Welcome. Woof. What a weekend we had. A good enough weekend to describe in detail our first impressions of it. We have a lot of stuff that we're going to be doing today, of course. Let me make sure that everything's all set up here, though. What an amazing weekend. I think we had probably 100-ish players participate at some point in time from 9 o'clock in the morning, my time, when we started, to 9 o'clock at night when we finally ended. It was nuts. And it really is something to say here when you start the day off with doing a dungeon run that then goes directly into a hunt, an RP hunt, where we're looking for Dvalin, the golden stag, so that we could have it at a feast. We went and found a relic. We purified the relic and turned it into something great at the Basilica of the First Redeemer, which I will be showing off on stream today. We also are going to have a full video series coming out about the creation of it, the lore behind it, because it is based off of actual in-game lore. It itself is not something that existed in game. Well, I mean, it does now, but in terms of the lore, there's no such thing as a Basilica, the First Redeemer. Until now, we are writing it in the annals of PAX Day. It is written, and so it is. And that's part of why we had everyone here when we did. And it was an incredible celebration. After we went and did the hunt, so we did the Great Cleansing, we did the Golden Hunt, where we were looking for Dvalin, the golden stag, and then after that, we had a banquet feast at one of our awesome taverns. We had so many people all running around through it, RPing and all of that. Then Eltarii, my character, got to stand up on a table and give a very entertaining retelling of everything that had happened in the hunt and in the Great Cleansing, where we went to a dungeon and we found a particular mob. And it was incredible how all of this kind of pieced together. I had such a fun time participating, and I won't talk for everyone else. I'm sure they had an amazing time too, just based on the response. It was so cool. So then after we had the feast, we then proceeded to have a grand bazaar. We had like 30, 40 people all running around, trading, socializing in our market square. And we're going to go see all of those things today. I'm just going to talk about a little about what we learned, some cool things that I think should exist in the future, as well as just how fun this event is. I truly think that this is the kind of way that you should really be playing PAX Day from day one. I think that's what this game was made for, and it's a real shame for people who haven't gotten to experience it the same way that we have. We'll talk about all of that and a little bit more in today's PAX Friday, not Friday. God, I'm like 3 years behind right now. Today is Monday, and that is where we have the professional Back to Work Monday stream. That's what we're at today, not the PAX Friday review. We're still 4 days away from that. But welcome. For anyone who's just now joining, I'm Eltarii, the professional gamer, and we stream PAX Day every Monday from 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We sit here, talk, answer your questions. Maybe I should put this down here. And we just have fun. We do a whole bunch of different things. Obviously, we have the Golden City, which is a part of the creation that the clan that I'm in works on diligently to improve and bring community together and all of that. And that's why we are here. But at the end of the day, we are just a humble player of PAX Day who wants to share all of the fun stuff that we do in game. And it's been pretty great so far. So Kayla Wright, hello. I'm so sad I missed the event yesterday. You're glad that we had a good time. We are going to have a recap of all of the fun stuff that happened. There's also some RP related events that occurred there as well, which we will adamantly be reporting on too. So don't feel like just because you weren't there, you won't be there in spirit with us. We have that video hopefully coming out sometime later this week, either on Saturday or maybe a little bit earlier. I've been kind of getting over a cold, and after the event happened, my body finally just kind of stopped for a day. I think I didn't wake up. I slept for maybe 9 hours, 12 hours. And if you know me, literally ask anyone. Eltarii doesn't sleep for more than 6 hours most days. So going 9 or 12 hours deep in the sack is pretty a difficult feat for me in a lot of ways. But that being said, we're back. I had a horrible cough. I think for the most part, it's gone, and we're back and better than ever. So ideally, I will have that recap video out before the weekend, but we'll see how things go, and it'll be out in the next week, ideally. So stay tuned for that. But wow. Okay, so the event in and of itself was very, very fun. We had people showing up the day before. It felt very much so like kind of a festival of sorts. And today's live stream is kind of just my initial reactions for this event and everything that happened. And I'll be walking around the city and showing some stuff off that we got to do and all of that. But the full actual historic retelling will come later this week in a video. But a couple of the things that we learned was, one, how fun. Hey, what up, Don? How are you? Hey, Tevin. And, or should I say tavern? Sorry, JC. But so one of the cool things that happened in this is because these are just mainframe. If you're listening, these are observations, and take them where you may. But I think some of these are incredibly good social interactions that you should really lean into in the future. One of those is, no, not gonna stick. Yeah, I know, Tevin. But one of those observations that I had is because everything is so far away, players were planning far ahead. So anyone who's planning to do large scale events, do give players a ample amount of time. I think we gave them about 2 weeks to plan. That also gave us a lot of time to advertise and really spread the word. And we had a lot of critical channels that we kind of distributed the information through. But that being said, the cool thing was that players were coming to our city 1-2 days prior to the actual event occurring. And we have in the Golden City, we run open to everyone, every citizen, anyone who's in the area. We have everything open to them to be able to come and participate in any of the dungeon runs that we're doing or anything in between. And we have several dungeon runs that we do in a week, and players are more than welcome to attend. We have a really open and straightforward way of, yes, it has, Dawn. It has grown quite a bit, actually. But we have a very open kind of policy on looting. Really, we don't care who's looting all of the smaller mobs. Golden Company members aren't really there for that anyways. And really what we're there for is the elite mobs. Those are the named players, not players, but NPCs that are in that dungeon. And we have a cycle where pretty much if you have more than 3 players from your clan attending, then every cycle your name gets pulled in sequence. We just randomly determine who goes where in the order. And then whenever we kill a named mob, you get the loot, and then we go to the next person, and so on and so forth. So it's very, very straightforward. If you only have 1 or 2 players, then that's when you get skipped. So you do every other one. And really that's just because it kind of is unfair for groups that have like 12 people showing up, that they're getting the same loot cycle as someone that only has 1 person, because the 12 people are pulling a little bit more of the weight, so that distribution wise, it just helps out a little bit more. It's totally fair. And so far it's been a really great experience. But the cool thing is that all of these players who are coming 2 days prior now started adding in to all of our dungeon runs and to everything that was going on, which made it incredibly fun and engaging. And it really felt like players were coming long distances to really enjoy something that they haven't. It felt like you were traveling a long distance to go see some distant friends and hang out for a couple of days. It felt like a multi-day event, even though the event itself was only on Saturday of this past weekend. And it was incredibly cool because you just have people. There was so much foot traffic coming through the city. I mean, I was tirelessly, because I'm notorious for procrastinating, but I was working on this guy until literally the last day. Half of this wasn't finished. And I say half of it. The exterior wasn't finished. We knew what we needed to do. It took some time to actually do it. And while I was sitting online, you just see these players keep on coming through and having RP interactions and coming with us on dungeon runs and doing all of these different things. And that was really, really cool. The only reason I think that happened was because the travel times between the different areas is so vast that players didn't want to miss out on something, and they wanted to make sure that they showed up early enough. There was a component in there of people worried that they wouldn't make it in the primary instance of everything. Hey, what's up, Miss A Young? Hey, yo. But with the result of them all coming early, we had so much fun doing other things. So early on in the event planning, we had the idea of, the actual event. What was the actual event? It was a monastic order meeting, where every monastic order meeting, the participating members are making these cathedrals, and they're dedicated to a particular redeemer. If you're unfamiliar with the Pax Dei lore, there is this concept of redeemers. A couple of them came from heaven. They were heavenly descended is what I call them. And I'm sure Mana is on this live stream, so I'm probably going to get quoted on a couple of my lore misconceptions. That's totally okay. Sorry, Mana, ahead of time. But the Redeemers came down, heavenly descended, a couple of them, starting off with Protanoia, who's kind of considered the mother of humanity, and gave them life and all of that in this layer of creation. And there's multiple layers of creation that have existed previously. Sorry, I still do have a little bit of a cough. But the Redeemers came and they bestowed gifts to humanity. And there were 9 of them, starting with Protanoia, who is the first, was heavenly descended. And then about halfway through, the Redeemers started to emerge that were products of humanity themselves. They no longer were descending from on high. They were born as humans, and then they were blessed with gifts by the divine to share with the rest of humanity. One of those redeemers you might recall is Armazel. Armazel's Folly is a story that was published over a year ago by the mainframe devs, where he bestowed upon humanity the ability to craft magic into armor. And that's why we have armor the way that we do, where you can apply, or there are magical attributes that can be applied to different armor pieces. And Armazel got really full of himself, and he took the Sons of Light, which are a cohort of warrior knights that all went into a mountain called Mount Medulla, and they descended into it and were never seen again. Very sad story. That's why it's called Armazel's Folly. Yes, rip indeed, JC. And that's another example of a redeemer. But then the last redeemer that existed about, I think, 100 years ago in PAX Day time was a redeemer known as Loyos. And Loyos, you might be familiar with in game. There's a spell, two spells actually. One's called Loyos' Blessing. The other one's called Loyos' Favor. He's constantly referred to as kind of, the redeemer that brought healing arts and potentially alchemy too, I believe. Loyos's Tears is a alchemic reagent that can be used as well. So you have the two bookends. You have Protanoia and you have Loyos, and then somewhere in the middle you have Armazel, and then there are 6 other redeemers that kind of go in between, and those go from like the 6th, like Auroriel, and then you also have Phaonios, and it just keeps on. Merothia, so many other ones that are all responsible for different things in the PAX Day lore. Now, the monastic order, as a member, you have the ability to kind of commiserate or is that the right word? You have the ability to commission a cathedral in the honor of one of these redeemers. We, as the Golden City, we figured, hey, we're called the Golden City. We got to maintain that opulence and, pride. And we decided to go with Protanoia, who is the first redeemer. So we called this giant cathedral here the Basilica of the First Redeemer. And the purpose of the event was primarily to consecrate this basilica in honor of the First Redeemer, and then also to have a meeting of the monastic order, which is called the Chamber of Voices. That was the original concept behind this event. And very early on, I was like, if people are going to come travel far and wide for this event, we better make it more worthwhile than just showing up for effectively a text conversation that's going to happen over about 2 hours or something like that. Turns out the text conversation ended up lasting for almost 3 hours. We'll talk about that in the recap video. But with that, I wanted, and I talked to all of our event planners alongside in the Golden Company, and I said, hey, how about we extend this to more than just a single event for the monastic order? We make it a big thing for everyone. And that's where we brought in, okay, we're going to go do dungeon runs in the morning. We're going to go do this RP kind of hunting thing halfway or towards the middle part of the morning. And then we're going to do tavern crawl RP, plus we're going to do a grand bazaar where players can sell their different resources and crafts and services. And then we'll go into the actual ceremony where we're going to have like a full-blown sermon, which, yes, I did give. It was about the bonds of friendship and how everyone is a gift to each other. It was a very positive message. We'll talk about it in the recap video as well. Then afterwards, we went over to this amazing building that's still kind of a work in progress, at least the roof is, but we went to what is called the Hall of 100. This is the Golden Company's meeting place. Only 100 players will ever be a member of the Golden Company, so we have only 100 seats here, but it's also great for hosting other types of events and stuff like that, to which that is what we did. And this is the view that you'll probably see in the recap video. And really, really awesome time. Had such a great time But what was cool is that because this event was bringing in players and we knew that they were going to be coming in over a couple of days, we were able to plan all of these other events around that, which made everything feel a lot more lively and like natural. I don't know how else to describe it, but because travel distance were so far, players were coming in earlier, and then that incentivized us to make them coming in earlier incentivized by giving them something to do. Because the worst thing that could happen is they spend 3 hours to come here and then there's nothing to do for the next 2 days and they can't go home because the whole reason they came out here was for the event on Saturday. So we planned a bunch of stuff and that kind of just kept growing and growing and growing. And we ended up having just a huge event. And then at the very end of everything, we even started the first part of an in-game RP series that, I don't know what we're going to call it. Maybe we'll call it the Hammer Saga. I don't know. But Eltarii had his number one sacred hammer, the hammer that he first used to start building the Basilica of the First Redeemer. And it was stolen from him as he was about to bestow it upon the next builder of the next cathedral to be consecrated at the next or the second to next meeting of the monastic order. So that launched an entire investigation, and it led us all the way up to, I believe, over here somewhere, where you might be able to see off on the hillside, there is, where is it? Going through a bunch of buildings. Right there on the hilltop, you can barely see it because it's dark, but there is a ramshackle shack that we tracked the thief to, and then it appears as though they have escaped into the wilderness. So the next episode will happen at a later time, and we'll go on kind of a scavenge hunt for more clues as to who this thief is, what their motives were, and why they were stealing Eltarii's sacred hammer number one. But really cool. And wow, it was just such a fun time, I think, where everyone was able to kind of gather together. There's kind of this drama that's going on right now. I wouldn't call it drama, but like drama in more of a grand sense, where there are these up and coming regents of various regions in our version of creation on Danu, where they are crowning themselves kings and queens. And some of them are requesting the monastic order, which again is this kind of religious organization in PAX Day, specifically on our server, but also it's open for other groups on other servers to kind of organize in the same way. And they want the kind of church to recognize them and support them and kind of throw in their towels for support for their particular kingship or queenship or kingdom, what say you. And there's a lot of different opinions on whether or not they should be supported or they shouldn't be supported. And, you know, my stance on it is to kind of remain neutral in this regard, because that's kind of what the Golden City stands for. But we want to be a place for everyone, and, you know, king, queen, peasant, or anything in between, as I would say. So that is why that rhymes. But that's why we kind of remain neutral. We want to be a place where anyone can come and feel at home and feel like they're a part of a community. And not to say that being in a kingdom, you won't feel that, but we just don't want to exclude anyone in any way, shape, or possibility. Now, it was really fun to participate in this event for a bunch of different reasons. I mean, it was 12 hours of role play. One critical observation, where mainframe, if you are listening to anything that we're saying right now, the one thing, and they know it, I'm pretty confident you all know it, and it's getting better chat. Like, holy crap. It was so rough. It was, y'all, it was depressing. It was, you'd sit there and you'd be typing and typing and typing, and people would be saying things, and then the chat wasn't updating. And there was a couple of fails. Like, I had a really bad woof moment where someone was sharing something during our meeting and we were trying to have decorum, and they were taking a really long time to type, and some people weren't seeing their typing and other people were, and sometimes it didn't update quickly enough. So then I asked, like, hey, do you have anything else to say? And they were kind of on the pro king side of things, and it might have come off as I was trying to push them off and almost censor them. And that's not what I was trying to do. I just didn't see any of their text popping up, and that was a real bummer. I was, very sad. But it's okay. I think we blended, and we came to a good consensus, or at least a working consensus, I think. And either way, really, really fun. And we built this city not on rock and roll, but we did build it on a lot of rock, actually. But we built this city to be used for events like this. We want it to be something lively. I mean, one of the goals that I have is at some point, I would love if we had 400 players calling this city home. And I would want it condensed. I want it compacted together where you have a lot of high population density, and not like what we have kind of over in this direction where you can see the individual plots. I mean, not as much here. This is kind of the Golden Citizens and then the merchant company on our server. But what I don't want to see is people so far spread out. I mean, medieval cities look more like this, expanded times a million, right? And this is how you fit 100 players in one place, in a small area. And the reason why I want like 400 players to eventually call the Golden City home, including the 100 players that are in the Golden Company, is because then that means when you log in, there's going to just be people online at any point in time. The city's always going to feel lively. People are always going to be doing things. And that allows for us to do all of the storylines that we want to play out in game, because obviously we're in RP, and I think there's so much fun there. And when the city, we have so many builders, eventually the city's going to be finished, but we don't want the city to ever truly be fully finished. So we'll have storylines for why buildings are changing the way that they are looking, and different things will be torn down and put back up and be made new and all of that. But at the end of the day, in order to make any of those things be fun for everyone, we have to make storylines and reasons for why these things are happening, not just we felt like deleting them for whatever purpose. So we did want to make an area or a way for players to experience all of these things in kind of a condensed, everyone's kind of pulled together more rather than being spread out. And that's why we have this like concept of city streets that we're kind of playing around with right now, where we want players to be able to come and rent this space out, or not even rent it, but own it and participate in things around the city without having to be Golden Company members. And we actually want to be outnumbered 3-1 in the final population of the server, or the final population of the Golden City, that is. D. Smithson, most players want their own space, so to have to be on the same, have them build that closely, which I agree, having a countryside nearby also to the city looks nicer. Yeah, no, and they have to be on the same page. They have to have them build that closely 100%. And we actually have methodologies for how we can do that in the current system. And part of that is just plot trading. So we can build things and then hand things over. It also would be a good reason to play alts. You're 100% correct, Kathleen. And that's kind of part of the thought process that we have, is like, you don't need to have a plot to be a resident of the Golden City. If you have an alt and you want to come and plop your alt down here, well, really, what do you need as a character? You need storage. You need storage, basically. All of the crafting stations that exist in the Golden City, minus the refiners, like the smelters and the furnaces, all of the crafting stations are things that you as any player can access with no issue. And as a result, that really, really means the only thing that a player will actually need, is storage. And that's what these homes are for. So like, if you need 5 or 6 boxes, you can just come over here and plop down your 5 or 6 boxes. And now you have the storage necessary for your character, your alt or whatever it is, to come and call the city home. And if you go out and gather materials and process them, then that's great too. There's also, I mean, we have the merchant company just across the way. We're planning on having, when market stalls exist, we're going to allow players and player organized groups to come in and place market stalls that are actually fitting the function of market in our market square. And they can come and replenish whatever the resources there. They can earn their own gold. We're trying to design it to be kind of a real hub for player activity. And that's, any group can come in. We're not going to, block people from coming in. If you want in, you're here. Congratulations. But with that, then that even removes more of the requirements that players need to have, because if you need something, instead of having to craft it, you can just do services and then sell them at the marketplace. I'm sure Tevin would love to buy wood or charcoal or whatever it may be. So that allows for that. So then what we would do in that event, because really all you need is storage, is we would just come over to where these plots are located and we would set them to public momentarily. And see, he says yes. But we would, switch it over to public momentarily, and then they can place their chests. We would even have the chests placed for them. And then all they have to do is, delete the chest and replace it. And now it's their chest, and they can set it to private. And then there are only 2 people that can access it: them and the owner of the plot, which you are going to have to trust us. We honestly, I mean, look, like, if you think you have something that that one plot owner is gonna want, when they have access to anything and everything that the Golden Company has to offer, it's not gonna. We don't need to. We're not those people. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. And if you're really, really worried about it, then I understand. But ideally, most people won't be. And the only reason that even exists is, so let's say one of these alts, they come here and they play for a while, and then they're just not active for months and months on end. Okay, well, we need to open the space up for someone so we can go in there, save it, and then store that player's stuff off in our bank or something like that, and then open this space up for more stuff. So if that player comes back, we can go, get their equipment from a chest in our bank and give it back to them, no problem. But it then allows for an active player to come in and fill this spot. The concept also applies all the way down to if Mainframe, when the game releases, they've talked about paid subscriptions getting plots. Let's say you don't want to subscribe, or let's say you want to pull back. Maybe you don't want to own a plot right now. You did the whole plot thing for a while, and you're like, you know what, I want to kind of go more on cruise control. Well, you could come to a place like the Golden City, and really, I think there might be a couple of other groups that are doing something similar, but not to the same scale that we're really doing it. And Mainframe doesn't like this. It might be against terms of service. I have no idea, because it can really circumnavigate the need for a subscription. But as long as they're cool with it, and this is kind of an intended thing, then even if you're a free-to-play player, you could still come to the city and fully enjoy PAX Day for everything that it has to offer, minus the building, which obviously is a really big component. But like, if you didn't want to do it, you weren't interested in it, and you still wanted to participate in everything that there is to participate in, then you have everything here. And if the storage inside of the home that you have isn't enough for you, Well, that's why we have a bank all the way over there, that giant building, where you can store your goods and things inside that bank cellar using the exact same concept that we have here. Now, some more granular things that I think would really help us is something like being able to set a plot to place only public, not place or delete. So then that way, like if we set this plot over here to public and some player decides I'm actually going rogue and they start deleting everything instantaneously, okay, that's a problem. We don't want that. So having the ability to set the plot to place only on public, that means they can place things down, but they can't destroy them. Yeah, it would be great if they could whitelist plots or chests or something like that. I think that's in the future. I mean, I'm not a developer. I'm not formally associated with mainframe, but I feel like that should be something that they're going to make in the future. It's just, you know, what quality of life thing. They have the dartboard and they're throwing the darts out. Which one are they going to pick? Koroth sounds like a plan. Would be interesting how they make it possible on the mainframe programming end. Yeah, I really hope that they go on to kind of support it even more. But this is kind of the concept of the city. And then that way players who like what we're doing, but they also, maybe they do have, it is just an alt and they want to go play with their friends or play on their plot for a while or do whatever, but they like all of the events that go on in the Golden City. Well, they have the opportunity to go and do all of that too. Exactly. Soon, TM. But I find it to be, and then, so like this is, over there is kind of like the lower end of it. But then we have these really beautiful, kind of like a higher end neighborhood where there's a lot more space. It feels a lot more spacious. And there's a couple of single story ones, and there's these upstairs areas that I believe, oh yeah, I'm silly. So this one right here is kind of like a penthouse, and you have to enter from over here. And then you have, I think it's 2 rooms, 2 full rooms. So you have this, and then it crosses over, and then you have another room right here. Really, really awesome. Some of the things that we're building. And we're actually going to go, what up, Mana? We're actually going to start going onto the Danu RP server and advertising these as spaces for players to come and live in. Honestly, I don't really, at this point in time, I don't see a need to charge players. We just want to bring people together and provide services. And if this is something that you like, then you can come and participate in right now. Maybe in the future, we might charge some like nominal fee or something like that. But in reality, having players around in an area is 1,000 times more valuable than getting a measly 2 gold a week from them or something like that, which gold doesn't even exist in the game. I don't know what its value is going to be, but it was really, really fun when everyone was coming in early, and we even made some space for them in this is called the Regal Badger. It's our tavern, kitchen, community gathering spot. And we made a little room for a couple of visitors who told us that they were coming, and they were like, can we have a place to stay and kind of do all the things in? And we were like, yeah, of course. Just give us a couple moments to plan out for your arrival. But yeah, we'll make a little room for you. And then here it is. So then for this one, we just had public containers, which they were able to kind of store some stuff in, but it just as easily could be something else. Another good way, here's another cool thing too. Another good way that the problem could be solved is just making doors that have keys. And when you have a door that has a key, if the player with the key has the key in their hand or in their inventory, then the door opens for them. If they don't, then the door doesn't open for them. And the person who owns the door can make any number of keys, or not make any number of keys, depending. And it says how many keys of that key has been made. So if a player has a key, they can be like, How many keys of this exist? 5? Cool. I know that 5 other people have access to my room, or, so on and so forth. And the door owner can change the keys. Keys would be so cool. It would fix so many problems, and it's physicalized. And that's even cooler because then, someone can be like, oh, can you go get this thing from my whatever? And then you hand them a key and they put it in their key bag, and now they can get into your room and steal whatever the heck they want from inside. It would be so cool. Also from the RP standpoint, yeah, thieves love keys. Physical whitelist is the best solution. 100% agree, Tevin. But then, that makes the bank concept that we have here, which is definitely not Gringotts. Definitely not Gringotts. Warner Brothers, I have no idea what you're talking about. This is not a replica of Gringotts whatsoever. That's not what we did here. 100% not Gringotts. But we have all of these. I don't remember how many. I mean, let's do a count here. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 on one level. So I think we have close to 100 individual storage locations. If there was a key that someone could use to open these things. Okay, I said 100. I probably mean more like 50 something. 50 would be so great. I would say excuse me, but I muted myself. It's Gringotts of the Golden City. Grot grins of the Golden City. My dyslexia read that the right way. You're missing the weird short people managing it, unless Zito works there. I'll tell him you said that. Steven DeRusso, make doors like chests with access, but put player name on the door chest for access. Yeah, that would be great. It would be so cool. Any kind of whitelist. The second that they do that, y'all, do you know how much functionality will come from just a small permissions upgrade? Like, such a cool idea. Such a cool idea, and definitely something like they would be crazy. It would be absolutely insane to not actually include that in one way, shape, or form. Like they just have to. I don't know. I don't see a world where they wouldn't do that. But either way, having players come in and be there early and be able to participate in all these things, having areas for them to kind of work out of was really, really fun. And I definitely recommend other people take the cue from this to go for that. See you, Tevin. Thanks for dropping by. Have a good rest of your night. Thanks for staying up as long as you did. But just generically a really fun experience to have with everyone coming in early. It felt more towny and like a real community starting to emerge, and that made me really, really excited. And then the event itself, holy cow. Like the number of players, we had people showing up to our consecration of the Basilica, which I will show now. I kind of like gave a quick little tease, but we'll go for a full thing here. We have our nice little garden walk here as well. So we have a cheater stairs. I love myself some cheater stairs. So this is actually, if anyone's wondering, like, why the heck does this exist? So we had a stone setting ceremony where all of the players were invited from all over all of Gallia. They were invited to come and set a stone down at the base of this basilica because, we wanted it to be something that's for the community, that's for all of the players that are in game playing on Danu, and that is what we had our stone setting ceremony for. And then this behemoth emerged from all the way down there. I cannot confirm it yet, but this structure might be the tallest freestanding structure in existence in PAX Day. Like, we maximized. We used every trick in the book to get this tall. I don't think there was anything taller. Now, you might be saying, oh, Eltarii, like, look, this is taller. That's not freestanding. We're using a trick. There's a whole cliffside that it's based off of. So it can go even taller because it's using the cliffside to give it elevation. Yes, these are kind of single standing flat surfaces right here, but as they're going up, they're kind of creeping up the side of the hill, the side of the cliff. This over here does not have that same privilege. It is as tall as it could possibly be without any kind of rock face in the center or anything like that. If I go through down here, this is underground, right? This is the cathedral underneath. There's no, you'd see the rocks. Here's the rocks. You'd see the rocks over here. Yeah, none of that. This is all just right there. Bada bing, bada boom. I've never actually looked at it from underneath, so you all are seeing this at the same time I am. But that is the Basilica of the First Redeemer. There's a lot of tricks that I used in creating this. And I think it's more than worth several YouTube videos kind of talking about the concept behind it. The front kind of looks like Notre Dame, which is a Gothic cathedral. We did base it off of Gothic. I think the Golden Company eventually wants to build the Golden City in Gothia. A lot of the lore behind Gothia appeals to us. Fun fact, though, the Gothic style of architecture did not come from the actual region known as Gothia in history. Obviously, PAX Day is a alternate history, but there are regions that are based generically off of different regions, and they share a lot of the similar names. One of those is Gothia. We're in Gallia, which is based kind of loosely off of kind of French influences or like Western European influences maybe, but a lot of French influences. And the first Gothic architecture, someone can fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure emerged originally out of France. And the reason why it was called Goth, or another fun fact, Armazel is the fifth Redeemer, was the seventh son of a Gothian carpenter. Please. Was it Scandinavia? Because I'm pretty sure, so the reason why it's called the Gothic style is that it resembled the like tall ceilings and the sharpness of things, or like abrasiveness of the architecture or something like that resembled that of Goths. So they called it Gothic in how it was presented, but it had almost nothing to do with the actual Goths or the Visigoths or Gothia as a whole. They were pretty much settled in Germany / France, but they originated from the Scandinavian region. Yes, in terms of actual who the Gothian like people are, or like the Goths, yes. But I feel like I remember in doing my research, which I wasn't expecting, I heard in a particular video that Gothic, in terms of Gothic architecture, had almost nothing to do with the actual Goths and had more to do with almost, it was like a slangish term for how it looked. Fact check me on it though. That would help for my video when I'm publishing it, because that was a factoid that I was going to publish with it. Seventh son of a Gothian carpenter. They're really trying to draw as many parallels to a particular carpenter that existed in our reality. They need to be a little, I don't know. I don't think seventh son of was pretty sure Jesus was just a son of a carpenter, not the seventh. I mean, maybe it ran that far back. It's been a while since I looked at the genealogy of that. As long as Armazel wasn't also related to a king who was faithful to the divine, even though they were betrayed by their own house and slept with one of their soldiers' wives and defeated a very large human that was defeated by getting hit by a rock from a slingshot, then I think they're okay. He didn't create carpentry. Yeah. I am right now. The Gothic architecture is French, 12th century, then spread out to Britain. There you go. Perfect. Thank you. But yeah, I do like how sometimes it's so well connected. I honestly, man, I know we had that conversation the other night. I have been thinking about it, and I know a lot of people from like Christian backgrounds. I mean, I have a Christian background. I go to church on Sunday, you know. But I think people have kind of a closed off view of like what is sacrilege and what's not. And I think it might be worth a video. I might even invite, remember the wholesome YouTuber from the streamer weekend when we were giving out keys. Wholesome YouTuber, also Christian, also thoroughly enjoys PAX Day, and is a really great content creator. And I'd love to kind of get him on and do a little collaboration and see what the perspective is on that kind of thing, because I think there's a misconception of what those things are. And I mean, I truly, yeah, he's great. He built his own like solo castle, and it's a really sick looking castle. The girl, I don't know who you're talking about. Uh-oh, I might have blanked. But, you know, there's definitely varying opinions on certain things, and people all have different thoughts on the process. But no, it would be really cool to kind of get him on there. And I honestly, like with how the game works, yeah, there's things that are shared, but kind of like what I said yesterday, I think it was yesterday we were talking about it, right? You know, if you're offended by the lore that exists, the fictional lore, the clearly fictional lore, they duo streamed the interview for the pre-alpha event week. Oh, got it. No, not that girl. Yeah. But well, you got me. I just got completely dislodged in my train of thought. No, but you know, people who have offense with PAX Day lore, you know, I would venture to ask them, what are your approaches to Tolkien or to C.S. Lewis? Because both Tolkien and C.S. Lewis are esteemed in especially Christian circles as, you know, they're lauded as Christian authors who interwove the mythos of Christianity into a mythos of their own world. I say mythos, but that's a technical term, regardless of what people's beliefs are. But the fact of the matter is, like, I mean, Elisar was the Jesus equivalent in the same way as Gandalf the Grey to Gandalf the White was also kind of a Jesus EQ to, you know, the death and rebirth. You have angels that are the Valar. You have Iluvatar, which is like the god deity, the monotheistic entity that created all of Middle Earth and everything in between. I mean, those are Christian beliefs interwoven in between. Yeah. Jesus is the lion of the tribe of Judah. Aslan, anyone? Literally, yeah. Aslan is, and like, come on. I mean, how is that not sacrilegious? If you wanted to go like that deep, if things in Pax Day are sacrilegious, then how is having Aslan, the lion who was sacrificed on the table for everyone else, specifically for Edmund, but also for, everyone else's sins, so that he could finally vanquish over the long winter and eventually end up conquering the Ice Queen. Not Elsa. But like, which also the Ice Queen was something taken from a completely different like folklore that was not Abrahamic in nature at all. So C.S. Lewis merged two kind of background religions together, but people, there are authors, prolific authors in Christianity that still quote both Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, and love to, because they wrote great stuff and also happen to reflect a lot of Christian ideology and the stuff that they share. And I think Pax Day is no different. I think there's a lot of blending, and you can see the colors in between. And Saivari, welcome. Thanks for Ravari. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. So I think people might be a little too sensitive or not thinking of certain things when they kind of just have knee-jerk reactions. And I get it. People can get sensitive when they talk about those things. And that's just the way it is. And that's okay. Don't play PAX Day if it's something that you're really, really worried about. I don't think it's something like that. I mean, there are one of my favorite games of all time. One of my favorite games of all time. It's a JRPG. Anyone play Tales of Symphonia? Anyone play Tales of Symphonia? One of the best JRPGs of all time. One of the hugest plot twists I've ever experienced in a game growing up, other than Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. I was young, so I didn't see some of these things coming, and I was taken off my feet when these, I won't say the spoilers, happened. But in Tales of Symphonia, it's a JRPG. There is a pope that exists in that game. There is a church. It's called the Church of Martel, Church of the Goddess Martel, who, guess what? She went and sacrificed herself so that everyone else could survive, because there were two worlds and the mana in between them couldn't be shared, and they had to come up with a solution. So her brother decided that it was good to sacrifice them. She died for everyone, and then he tried to save her, and that's the whole plot of Tales of Symphonia. But there was a church. No one cared about it back then. Shouldn't have to care about it exactly now. The devs have said before that they, of all people, understand the cultural significance of these inspirations and will do their utmost best to respect them. I think they've done a good job so far. If anything, this game has been very informative, not only to some historical things, but even plants, medicine, crafts, and more. Yeah, I 120% agree. I think, if anything, it's a huge creative endeavor to make something like this and to come up with the background lore. I mean, God, how many MMOs have come out recently where you're like, yeah, they didn't think 1 second past the kill quest for collect 20 pigs and turn them in here. Like, there's no story significance there. And I guarantee you that the writers for those things have great stories. The writers for those MMOs could cook up amazing stories. But instead, they're being told to go and waste their time coming up with 20,000 lines of text for stupid quests that mean absolutely nothing in their game, because players need to level up somehow. And then you have the polar opposite where PAX Day is like, yeah, we don't have quests. Quests don't exist. So now if a quest doesn't exist, now your writers who you would have been wasting their time for 2 years having them write these inane quest details and lines of dialogue and stuff like that. Now they get to spend their full creative efforts creating a world and a background that players get to discover. And that's where things are going to get nutty. And I'm very excited for what that is kind of going to entail. Now, I think there's a lot of other things that are kind of going to have to go into that as well. There's going to have to be some player buy-in for sure, which obviously on this channel, I mean, look at this thing. Like, we've done that, I think. But there is insane amounts of opportunity now that you have writers like Amaroon who are just going to be able to go hog wild on actual interesting content that other writers have kind of been strapped down and told no, write quest lines instead. So I'm very excited to kind of see where all of that kind of leads us to in the future. Now, right here, this is kind of, I'm still trying to map out how this is supposed to work the best way possible. But the idea here is it is a winding staircase that players should be able to walk all the way up to get one to the roof, which is cool. But then also down here, what is in here? So it's a little dark right now, still work in progress. But the idea here is Quasimodo has to have a place. Has to have a place. My patron saint, Amaroon the Sage. Screw those stairs. Oh wait, other stairs. I mean, the one in the hole. Oh yeah. Sorry, Mana. But there's another set of stairs that has a hole in it. Well, for starters, there should be more light here. That's not fair. If you fall in one of these cracks, you will fall and not be able to get out. I tried to make that railing to catch players, but it actually, I think it had the invert one. Oh, the one behind the altar? One behind the altar's fixed. Kind of. You just go, let me not run down. You go down, and then you're in the hole, and then you go down. Ta-da! And then I was going to build kind of like a, not a dungeon, but like a storage place for sacred relics and stuff down here at some point. Maybe connect it to some other things. And then you kind of just loop around like that. And then you have to go up, up, up. And then, oops, messed that part up. Pardon me. So then right here, you get to here, and then you kind of like, oops. Oops. Normally you do this with like a lantern. Highly recommend doing it with a lantern. So then, see how there's like the little gap? And then you just whomp. And then you go whomp. And then you're out. And then you can walk right up to the altar. What he is saying is attempting to make it sound sensical or easy. It is in fact neither. Hey, you just saw me do it. Get better at platforming, Mana. That's all I have to say. But yeah. So I kind of went on a little bit of a diatribe there. Some other things that happened in terms of just general occurrences during this meeting. We did have a really big gathering of players for the actual monastic order meeting in and of itself. I had a really, really fun time with everything that kind of was going on. Sorry, I have to postpone the ceremony. Our clergy speaker got trapped in the hole. Shows up 30 minutes late, sweating. Yeah, so anyone who's wondering, Tainalier, Frank Sculpts, that's his channel on YouTube. This is his creation right here. And we're going to do a full like walkthrough of the city. It's probably going to have to be broken up into a series so that people can digest it in bite-sized chunks. Excuse me. So this is called the Hall of 100. And this is where we kind of held the meeting for this entire thing. And there is kind of a little secret thing I wanted to show. I really wanted to show this actually. So down here on either side, we do have a staircase down into kind of the more livery area for the Golden Company. And then over here, this is what we call an office. Really, really cool. Now, this is kind of an office, right? It's got a really big chair. I like that. And the view, really great. We have a nice little archery, kind of downrange of the archers. That's probably not a good idea. But modeled after a particular room in a particular sci-fi movie series. You'll get 20 brownie points if you can guess which one. But yeah, modeled loosely, and actually sometimes in some ways very accurately to a particular room, office of a particular sci-fi ruler, dictator, something. Hall 100 feels good. So excited to see it mostly full of Golden Company members one day. 100%. 100%. I would randomly guess Star Wars, but I'm not much of a sci-fi man. Well, maybe I'll give you like 5 brownie points for guessing the right the right sci-fi movie. So then in here, we channeled everyone in here. Then we went down, and this is the Hall of 100. Really cool modeling done here. I like how it kind of shows off in the distance. Some cool stuff. We do have kind of a ledger here for people to come and talk. So we actually recognized, do you love democracy? I thoroughly love democracy. Fortunately, no attempts on my life have been made. But so this is where everyone was coming and talking. We had people kind of like line up right here to get recognized by the chamber, and then they'd come up and give their proposals or their defense for certain things. And that is kind of what we did. And there was quite a drama that played out during this meeting, which was really important for, I think, players to kind of piece out as a group, about kings and queens and being recognized by the monastic order and all of that. But either way, really great event. And I think more of those types of things need to exist. And I think it's the way that PAX Day is really meant to be played, at least right now. I really like how we did this. So these are actually beds right here that have been placed in a way to look like couches. We got a nice little hearth right here for players to pull food from and all of that. Again, Tanley, a really good job. We got... Ooh. I haven't ventured up here yet. Should I be venturing up here right now, Tanley? Should I be venturing up here? Or is this just a exit to the Golden Company? Yeah. Hollow 100. Nice little access to some like storage and stuff like that if people need something or they need to kind of leave but exit stage right kind of thing. Oh, kitchen that Foxy installed. Okay, got it. So this kind of people need food. We can prep it right there, kind of on the side room. Very, very smart. Is this going outside? It is. We still have the whole back end that we need to design as well, right? Or no? I'm thinking of something else. I think the backside that I was thinking of is right here. Maybe it's not. No, it is. Look at all of that. I really like how that looks. It kind of looks like a top-down view of like that. In some ways. Ah, there's a kitchen staff hallway over to the banquet hall. Let's go check that out. Without dying. Or did I already pass it? I might have already passed it. I know there is a delay. As I'm like blinding myself. No, there is this the hallway to the banquet hall? No. I know what this is. The underbelly of the Hall of 100. Now, this I do have to applaud. It's a spinning wheel, y'all. It's a spinning wheel, but it's actually the level of detail of a system to lower the gate. I really like that. It looks like Star Wars as well from the top down. I could see that too, Mana. I could see that. Oh, no. I'm in the right place. There we go. I was like, Yep. So many places that are just here for players to discover. Every nook and cranny. You think it's not going somewhere? Well, guess what? It actually is. Oh, yes. This is where I was thinking that we still had stuff to build. Definitely some room to progress here. Ooh. Not today. Just added that this morning, but couldn't find the catacombs. Yep. That's because things are hidden. Things are just hidden. Not even I know where they are. Not today, Zeb. So, wow. Oh, we got Flans on too. Cool. But yeah, the event itself, I think it went really, really well. I'm excited to kind of share all the news that kind of came from it, share some of the RP stuff that happened, and that way people can kind of stay up to date with all of the, at least the Golden City area RP that happens. You might notice there's a song playing in the background right now. That is a song that was written for the event and then performed using, you guessed it, AI. But it's called Hymnus Protenoia Primo Redemptor, I think. It's all Latin, but what it means is it's like the hymn of Protenoia, the first Redeemer. So we even made like an in-lore song. Can I show where the Golden Isle is again? Absolutely, Kathleen. So we're in Dolavan, and Dolavan is located in Caries at the very center, and the Golden City is located on the Golden Isle. It's called the Golden Isle, one, because we're here, but also two, because it actually, I mean, before we placed the Golden City on top of it, it was actually on a field of gold flowers as well. So there's some lore behind that too. I can actually show the golden flowers that kind of are all around it. It like all synced up real well to call it the Golden City on the Golden Isle and have these golden flowers kind of characteristically across the entire area to the point where it even shows up on the map. Like you don't see these flowers showing up anywhere else. This was like intentionally made right here. It was like we were intended to be here the whole time. I don't think we're coming back here, at least in the next wipe. It's been fun, but it kind of also feels a little isolating where like we have the entire island to build what we want to and place everything around that we want to and all of that. And I don't think that we'll ever pick a spot that's altogether too far from the Petra Day. These things right here, the spawns for players, because it's so useful to be able to just port in to here and then set it as home, and then you can come back. It's divinely mandated. But it's been a great place to kind of build out, and we still have so much more to develop. All these over here, we're actually looking to fill it with a couple of smaller player groups and have smaller player groups come in, 5 or 6 players, and build a guild hall and start operating out of it. And this is kind of where embassies and stuff like that are kind of held for. It's kind of supposed to be the fanciest, the northernmost tip. That's where the papal magnet is. Has the 8 rings plus the 1 ring on top, symbolic of the 9 redeemers and the divine as a whole. It's kind of like our lighthouse almost. What up, Dilly? Dilly. And yeah, this is kind of where we're at. But it would be really cool to kind of have something where players who want to be a part of the Golden City or be a part of like the community as a whole, they can build near us or connect their plots to ours, and we can continue to kind of make that city feel, or at least experiment with it. Wow, Eltarii telling the true lore for once. Now that's sacrilege. Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. But yeah, so that's where we're at, right? Yeah. You're more than welcome to come stop by, Kathleen, whenever you want to. We'd love to have you. But yeah, and I think the next time we do one of these streams, we're gonna do more of like a dungeon run or exploring in a way. But I really wanted to share kind of initial impressions of everything, and it was would like to make an alt and be a city resident, of course. Yeah. Come and find one of us and we'd love to connect you for sure. But yeah, I think maybe next time we'll either go do a dungeon run during the stream, or we're going to go and do like a, look at me saving the cough until I'm muted. Dolvin's full at the moment. So you could technically, I think Danu's still open, a flax run. Danu should still be open, and if it is, you could always spawn in Lidlaw or Tremin, and then make a quick little brisk run down. That definitely is, just because it's listed as full, just means you can't place a plot down. But if you're coming to just be a resident of the city and you want to live here anyways and not really place a plot, then you don't really need to have a plot. You can just come down and we can kind of set you up with some chests and get you going for that. And we obviously can trade around or give you some hand-me-down gear and all of that to kind of get you started. Like I said, we do dungeon runs all the time. I think we have like 4 dungeon runs a week, almost just about. So next one's on Wednesday. Then I think we have a Thursday. We have a Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard. That's more for like our Eastern time zoners in midweek. Then we have a late night one that starts at 10 o'clock on Thursdays. Then we have another one that happens at 10 a.m. in the morning on Saturdays. I think we might be adding another one in there at some point too. So we have like 3 or 4 runs a week that we publicly advertise, and anyone and everyone's welcome to join for it. It's just generally fun. Our Saturday ones, we actually go and we're trying to do a tour of the all of Gallia. So right now we're in Innis Gallia. I think we have one more dungeon in Innis Gallia to go through, and then we're going to be making our way all the way to Mary, and we'll be doing those dungeons there, and then we'll complete our loop back to Ancien, and then we will rinse and repeat. When we're in Mary, I think there's actually a couple of really, really good relics in Mary, so we might camp Mary for like a week or 2 longer, just so that we can keep on getting some of those good relics, because there's some really good relics over in Mary's dungeons for a lot of good use. A lot of good general use. So, can you all hear the music in the background? Can you all hear it? It's still these, like, I came up with so many different variants of the Protanoia's hymn, and there's just so many. Like, it was make a like, it almost sound operatic. Then there's another one that, a lot of them, for some reason, the AI really, really wants to turn Latin like choral music into heavy metal. Believe it or not, that actually isn't altogether too left field. They actually share a lot of stylistic similarities in a lot of ways, but yeah. So I got to sift through a whole heck of a lot of the heavy metal variants of this exact thing, and then we got to these points pretty slowly, but surely. I'm not tired. Deposit a couple of these here. Yeah. So this is going to be a hospital. We're working on building a hospital. And the morgue. I think this is actually the morgue, now that I think about it. Hospital should be up. It's currently under construction, so you can't really see altogether too much on the inside, but it's supposed to be the hospital. Final Fantasy does it all the time. All right. Let's grab a couple of pieces of gear here. We might go on a little bit of a perusal of the rest of Dolavan while we're still on stream. Some of you aren't going to like this. As I shared earlier, this last week, I went, I think, like 48 hours without eating food. Kind of had a busy day, a couple of days, and I just didn't have a chance to eat. Well, we're on like round 2 here. I actually have my dinner waiting for me in the company kitchen. So I'll be going and getting off here in a little bit to go and eat that because God knows I'm hungry. But we'll go on a little bit of a short-term adventure here. Show off a little bit more of Dolavan. And just grab a bow, something there. Maybe grab one of these and a spear just so that we have it. That's good enough. Maybe we'll bring some food too, just in case. Always good to bring food. I'm sure you all know that, but it's always good to have it just in case. There we go. Look, got our traveling gear on. It's going to be so fun when, I love the log stack. Thanks, Thomas. Yeah, it's the small touches that really kind of really sell on the reality of this is something that's actually lived in and is being worked on. It's like this right here. I really like, one, it's forced perspective. You can't go in there and see everything, but you can see the walls are being propped up by the wood. You can see that there's a couple of logs on the ground. You can see the carpenter's table that's kind of like right there for people to be working on. And you can't really see much more around that. I really like how that looked. Really cool. Really, really immersive. Which is kind of what we're going for at the Golden City. And then you have Eltarii, who's parkouring across a majority of the rooftops in the Golden City. Easiest way to perish if you don't know what you're doing. So we're going to go exit the eastern side here. Eastern Bridge. Oh, we got some people. Dilly and Selly. Hello. Hello. They must be getting ready to queue up and go out on a dungeon or something like that. Looks like they're fixing to go on an adventure. Man, we had such a fun dungeon run yesterday. We were going for a particular spear that you get when you kill the Master of Flies in, I think it's Zebium Ambalon. It's the dungeon, the larger dungeon right here. And you go to the very bottom. There's this really big room. And for some reason, we've been there like 5 or 6 times this week because we had some Golden Company members make a request. And this mob just wouldn't spawn. And last night we went down and really adventured a bit. And we were able to get one. And then we found someone in the same dungeon who offered to give us another one. We ran the whole dungeon a couple of times, spent an hour or so down there. Then as we were leaving, we got a little impatient and we just started pacifying things as we left. And we were the person who gave us a sigil that we were looking for from the Master of Flies that they farmed earlier. We were trying to get them. It's called a Rojasil's favorite victim. It's another elite mob. And we went and engaged in a fight, but there were only 6 of us, and then the enemies spread out, and one of them had healing, I'm pretty sure. We ended up getting wiped. Hello, Batul. How are you? And yeah, it was actually hilarious. So then I had to come all the way back to the Golden City, pick up some spare gear, and head back over there to save us. We literally died just outside of the area that we could pull our bodies. So I had to go all the way back to the Golden City, run all the way back to the dungeon so that we could recover our bodies and, freeze everyone and do all of that. It was nuts. But Tool, I saw your YouTube PvP video of you 2v2ing against someone else in the Lioness. Looks pretty good. You guys got some good kills. Good kills. Yes, indeed, carries. We're just walking around all of Dolavan right now. Hanging. Woof. So, yeah. It's been really fun getting to build in this region. There's a lot of cool people here, and altogether not too much negative feelings with everyone, and how things have been so far has been really, really cool. Let's see if we can get that. Oh, hold too short. Am I overshooting or undershooting, do you think? DED. I think I was overshooting by a lot. I noticed the comment and replied, thanks a bunch. You're welcome. Hey, it was a cool PvP video. They always run. You're right, they always run. Oh, I think someone said they needed sinew. Wait, I think we need carcasses as well. Where'd the sinew go? There we go. This is the first time I've actually shot a bow in PAX Day. It was for the RP event, and I was like, fine, I'll give it a try. My take on the archery in PAX Day right now, though, is it's kind of useless. And I'm not pooping on it. Don't hear me the wrong way. I think archery as how it plays is actually pretty fun. I mean, you see me woofing every shot here, but the value that they always run, make it a t-shirt. Yeah, that would be hilarious. But the value that you get for archery right now is just so marginal at best. Even in PvP, you're doing 11 damage, and it's every 2 or 3 seconds. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here and I can do the same damage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in less than 10 seconds. Here, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. I think that you were kind of missing out on a lot of damage by that. And then not only that, but there's no skill associated with archery right now. So there's no special attack that you do. There's no magic items that go on it. There's nothing like that. Bravo kill. Warbow with steel arrows hit way harder. I'm sure they do hit way harder, but they don't if I walk up to an enemy right now and I do this, I'm doing 45 damage, 60 something damage, something in between there. Meanwhile, the bow just doesn't have that ability. It doesn't have the ability to stagger. It doesn't have the ability to proc any kind of magic that could exist on it, because there's a lot of those that can exist. It needs a little bit more oomph I feel like, in order to really have a place. Because, I mean, think about it. It's like, you know, also I am horrible at it, so that's a component too. But like one of the components is that it needs to have something that it can do. Proteo MB, his odd velocity is higher on hung bow than a war bow. Yeah, and a lot of that stuff is getting balanced too. I do think that it needs to be able to proc something, or it needs to stagger. That's my biggest thing is right now, as with every game, you know, CC is king, and being able to control an enemy and shield bash them or stagger them is huge. And the bow just doesn't have that right now. And I want it to have it. Like, don't get me wrong. I want it to have it. There's feedback, not criticism, but it would be great if the bow had something. And I know that there has to be some kind of balance with it as well, because if you are able to do damage far away from someone and they're not able to damage you, like, yeah, there's a problem with that. Because, you know, being able to stagger them or bleed them and stack a bunch of stuff on them before they even can get to you, that would be very frustrating and difficult. But, yeah, I mean, crossbow, we know it exists. There's been a skill that's shown up in the builds before. I think they finally took it away in this one. Yeah, but it used to exist in previous alphas and stuff like that. And I think it was even something that was craftable, but not supposed to be craftable at one point. But I think there does need to be some just magic procs and stuff like that too. So this area right here is the Viridian Order. Another really well built kind of castle keep and subsequent village. Really well done. Looks great. A lot of people have built these amazing things, but then they kind of have stopped because there's no content. And I don't think that's true. I think there's actually a lot of content. I mean, I think some people's issue is that they've gone on the wikis and they've, you know, MLG pro level scoped out exactly min-max build, and then they went to those explicit dungeons and farmed those explicit things to get the exact gear that they wanted, that they know is the best gear that they can get in game. And now there's no value to go and explore anything else and discover these things. And you know, now they're under the impression that there's nothing left to do, which ain't true. They just played the game wrong. Use the bow in PvP only to stop a target from, yeah, you don't want them to TP. That's what you want to avoid is that teleportation jutsu that people can do. Nobody likes that. Oh, forgot to mute myself on that one. My apologies. But yeah, I think, you know, bows will get some love, crossbows will get some love. They're probably going to add a couple more. I mean, I know we have skills for some things, but like sledgehammers, anyone have a sledgehammer yet? What about light pole arms? Anyone have a light pole arm skill? We have pole arm, not light pole arm. We have hand spear, but not light pole arm. What qualifies as a light pole arm? What qualifies as a light pole arm? Is that like a javelin? Do you think it'll be something else, like something that you can throw, but you can also jab with? That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, and the funny thing is too, Batul, that there's, I think some people have confirmed. I don't go on the wikis. I am allergic to them, but I think there's some people who have confirmed that there's actually indeed things that exist in the game that aren't showing up on the wikis right now. So there's that too, which I think is big, because you need to actually go out and explore in order to uncover what these things are then, right? So that's something that people need to go do. Then there's the people who went and data mined everything, and they know that there's certain mobs that are coming into the game or not coming into the game, or certain types of magic that are coming in or not coming in. The game is about discovering. If you already know everything, then what's the point of playing the game? It's like people who play Valheim, but they already know all the spoilers that are in the game. They already know. Well, if they already know, then what's the freaking point of playing? You already know that you can get, certain thing X, certain thing Y. But the excitement of discovering it is lost. Yeah, and that's also true. Data mining will show what's in the files. You can get really excited for stuff, and then it never comes out, which is sucky in and of itself. Because then you're like, oh yeah, this thing. And I mean, that's why I don't report about it on this channel, because, I don't want to speculate and say, oh, this thing. I mean, the only thing that I will ever report on is if a developer directly comes to me and says, like, these are things, which they have done before in interviews and stuff like that. But either that or articles or something like that. But I don't want to speculate and get people hyped up for something, and then when it never comes, they get really upset and disappointed and, get upset at everyone. The game is indeed about exploration and discovery, and just walking around and uncovering things. And I mean, it's not an eyesore to look at, so it's got that going for it. Now, the interesting thing is, in 2 days, I believe we're supposed to be getting a plot wipe. So it makes you wonder how many of these various builds are all going to disappear in the next couple of days. Like this one right here. There's only 5 things that have been placed on it. This might disappear in 2 days. We might be getting an extra plot available soon, ladies and gentlemen. I did like this this little lake here. Nice and scenic. So nice. So nice and scenic. But see, now this one won't go. But they're probably never coming back. E-Punk. 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 Fletching. Should I repair my... What's here? Carpenters. Nothing. This is tailoring. Leatherworking. Aha. I can repair some of those things, though. Nice. Yeah, anyone who is wondering, you can go to anyone's crafting table and repair. Or craft, for that matter. In fact, that's how I found someone and I made them some magical gear that we were exploring all the way up in Gravas, which is up here. You have to go through this region. I was super far away from home, but in farming one of the points of interest, I picked up all the materials that I needed in order to craft the particular thing that was needed. And then I just like, here you go. Enjoy. Oh, do I hear someone? No. I do not. I do not. Message retracted. This is kind of a more countryside. If this is the highly dense population side right here, in this little area, everything right here, this is kind of more the countryside. Got the nice rolling hills, the scenic vistas. You can't see the Golden City from here. You can kind of see the Viridian Order, I think, over there. Or that might be Corda Silva, one of those groups. This is just the nice little area that not too many people have come and settled at because they didn't want to walk too far. This is typically the area you farm for clay and stone. Yeah, it's a good place for clay and stone because there's not that many people here, so you can go and pick up all that stuff. There are also a bunch of people that just ignore all announcements and are clueless about current stuff. I get asked about the plot wipe a lot. People think all their stuff is going to be gone if they play, or if they, even if they play. By the way, the RP event you guys had was freaking cool. Were you there, Batul? Did you make a alt and show up, or did you watch someone stream, like Dapper Dak or something like that? It was very fun. It was incredibly fun, I would say. You saw the stream. Got it. Yeah. No, it was very fun. I am glad that I didn't stream it. I recorded bits and pieces of it to do the summary. But gosh, it would have been so difficult to be doing everything, also coordinating the entire event, and also trying to entertain X number of people as well. It would have been way too much. Way too much. Way too much. Let's see. Where are we here? Batul, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. I wonder what they're targeting here. Do you think the sun, when it sets, it comes straight through here? That would be super cool if it did. That would be super cool. But yes, thank you, Batul. Appreciate ya. What? Like, anyone who tries to argue that Dolavan is a cruddy valley, can you just look? I mean, I'm at the border right now. This is... Let me see if I can get as close to... close as I can. All the great work you do in the community and on and off the game. Thank you. I try and spread positive feels as best as I can. Look. Wait. Oh, we have a player. We have a player down below. Huntley. Brother Huntley. Where are you? Way down below. But anyone who says that Dolavan isn't like the best valley or massive, they be lying. They don't even know. So over there we got Corda Silva, we got the Viridian Order. Tucked on the other side of this hill, you can see bits and pieces of the Golden City over there. Then you have Olympus right there. Then we have all of these fine little neighborhoods down all the way over here. How cool. I can do a British accent. I don't know. Can I? Did I do a British accent? Hopefully I didn't butcher it. Hopefully I did not butcher it. Let's take a look over there. I wonder what's going on over there. Maybe we can go say hi to Huntley. They call me Eltarii, sure-footed for a reason. It's because I am good at scaling sheer cliffs and only dying occasionally. Y'all, so what I got for dinner, I'm so excited for. It's Italian. I got penne alla vodka. And then I got an antipasta salad. Yum. Yum, 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 yum. Get in my belly. So tasty. And I'm ready for it. I've prepared. I have prepared. Now, this is interesting. I don't. It kind of scares me though. I don't want to go inside. It worries me. It worries me what I might find or get trapped inside. You could use that too on your Carrie's dark roast. Yes, sir. Yes. All right. This has been a nice little tour of all of Carrie's. I think I've enjoyed it. We've kind of did I see them? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's a nice mug you got there. Oh, poor fox. You're talking about the Batul Gaming mug, right, Batul? Because, yes, I did see that one. You got a Carrie's Dark Roast mug design? Okay, hold on. I'll have to go check that out at some point. Send me a picture of it on Discord. That's funny. Carrie's Dark Roast. Now, see, here's an underutilized. Now, hear me out. Everyone, hear me out. We'll kind of end the night on this little discussion here. Hear me out. All right, I'm going to go up to the top of this hill really quick. So, zoom out. Here is one very, very good reason for population centers that I wish players would pay attention to or start to learn as the game develops. When you make population centers like the Golden City, we have 60-ish players all focused on that particular area. Thank you, Batul. All focused in that area. Then we have, several focused over here. We have several focused over here. We have several focused over here as well. Those focal points bring the players together, and it makes the rest of the region not starved for resources because everything else is a lot more dispersed, and there's still a lot of area where you can pick up resources because there's not plots placed everywhere, kind of dispersed throughout. It's all focused in one place. So then it doesn't starve the region of all of its natural resources. And that, I think, is why it's really important to actually have population centers, because it makes your entire region win. Because, yeah, you're going to have to walk a little bit further around to go get stuff, but walking 3 minutes to get some clay and be able to get a bunch of it all at once, and to have multiple players being able to do that in different areas because all of the population centers are so focused, it makes it so much better for resource gathering rather than having everyone dispersed and not being able to gather anything. And that is why I believe that as groups of players, we should congregate towards villages and hamlets and smaller areas where we kind of get more closely tight-knit together. And that's why. What server are you playing? Please tell me, someone. We're playing on Danu, which is the NA East RP server. Proteo MB, but if you can stop the spice production, you control it. Yeah, I mean, until someone moves off of Dune and goes to, I don't know, a better world without spice, I guess. It doesn't work. But I get what, yeah. I get it. I get it. Also, that game's looking pretty cool. Though I don't know how to feel with Funcom. Funcom? Is it Funcom? The ones making what's the game? The Dune MMO. Love Dune, by the way, especially the new one. Super, super good. All around, really good film. Both the first and the second one. Second one had some moments and then had some really good moments. That final fight, perfect. Really love it. But with all of that being said, the time has come where we are going to be ending the stream so I can go and eat my dinner. It is pretty late here, so I need to go do that sooner rather than possible. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another professional Monday stream. I do appreciate it. So hopefully you found out what you needed to find out there, and we see you around. You're more than welcome to come and join us. We actually have places where players can kind of like rent out spaces. You don't even need a plot. We can help you out there. Be a part of it. Be a part of the fun, as it were, where we love extending invitations to people to come and join and participate and have fun. With that being said, if you are interested in kind of connecting with the rest of the community on Discord, I always do this in the wrong chat. My apologies. You can come and join the Professional Gamer Discord. Browser Frog, hello, welcome. Thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it. Welcome. We are just about to end the stream, so please do check us out. We stream every Monday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you do want to keep the party going, do check us out on the Professional Gamer Discord. You're more than welcome to come and hang out. That's where we are hanging when we're not live or producing videos. Gorgeous all brave lioness from Mary to come pay a visit. Totally do it, Liam. We'd love to have you and have you come and hang out with us. We do dungeon runs all the time. Wednesdays, midday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thursdays, late night, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Saturdays, early morning, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hope to see you all there, and hope to see you next week for another very professional Monday live stream. until then, I am Eltarii the Professional Gamer. I hope you have a great rest of your night, morning, evening, afternoon, and I will see you in the next one.